Traumatic bonding. How emotional pain fuels toxic relationships. I once had a patient, we'll call her Maria, who was in a relationship that many people would have considered abusive. She knew it wasn't healthy. Her partner was controlling, dismissive, and emotionally unavailable. But despite all of this, Maria couldn't leave. Every time things got bad, there was a brief moment of connection, of hope that kept her hooked. This is what we call traumatic bonding, a powerful emotional attachment that forms in toxic relationships, often fueled by the cycle of abuse and brief moments of tenderness. Today, we're exploring traumatic bonding, the emotional glue that keeps you stuck in relationships that hurt you. If you've ever felt trapped in a toxic relationship, despite knowing it's harmful, this video is for you. We'll dive into how emotional pain, control, and numbness fuel these bonds, and how to begin breaking free. Defining traumatic bonding. Traumatic bonding happens when moments of intense emotional pain are followed by brief periods of connection or affection. This creates a powerful attachment, similar to the highs and lows of addiction. For Maria, the brief moments when her partner would show affection kept her hoping that things would get better, even though most of the relationship was filled with emotional pain and control. Have you ever found yourself holding onto the good moments in a relationship, even when you know deep down that the bad outweighs the good? That's the trap of traumatic bonding. The emotional highs and lows create a cycle that's incredibly hard to break. Recognizing traumatic bonding in your own life. Here's a few signs that you may be experiencing traumatic bonding. You're constantly hopeful for change. Even though the relationship is painful, you cling to the belief that things will improve, especially after brief moments of connection. The highs are very high. The lows are very low. The emotional roller coaster creates a bond that's hard to walk away from. You feel trapped. Despite knowing the relationship isn't good for you, leaving feels impossible because of the intense emotional attachment. Does this sound familiar? If you've experienced these highs and lows, it's important to recognize that the bond you feel may not be about love. It may be about the emotional cycle of trauma. The emotional drivers behind traumatic bonding. Traumatic bonding is driven by a mix of control, arousal, and numbness. For many, it starts with a need for control, the desire to fix the relationship or make things better. When this doesn't happen, it often leads to numbness, a way to cope with the emotional pain. When the relationship experiences a brief high, it reinforces the bond even more. I treated a patient once who, like Maria, couldn't leave a toxic relationship. For her, the brief moments of tenderness made her feel seen and loved. Even though the majority of the relationship was filled with neglect and emotional pain. It's this cycle: control, pain, numbness, and then a brief high that keeps people stuck. How to break free from traumatic bonds. Here's a few steps to start breaking free from traumatic bonding. Recognize the pattern. Acknowledge that the relationship's highs and lows are part of a toxic cycle, not true connection. Focus on reality, not fantasy. Write down the reality of the relationship, focusing on the consistent patterns of pain, not just the brief moments of connection. Seek support. Breaking free from traumatic bonding often requires professional help. Therapy, support groups, and medical professionals can help you process the emotional pain and begin to heal. What's one step that you can take today to start breaking free from a relationship that no longer serves you? Breaking free from traumatic bonds takes strength, but each step brings you closer to healing. In the next video, we'll dive deeper into self-appearance obsession and how our need for validation through looks can fuel cycles of control and arousal. Together, we'll explore how to reclaim your self-worth beyond appearance. If this video resonated with you, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what's one step you're taking to break free from a toxic relationship pattern. Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you and take care.